Welcome back, my dear friends, to TETS. Psychologists and HR professionals, those who are really good in assessing people, they normally tell we can evaluate a person just by one's handshake. Yeah, today the topic that we are going to handle, I am not going to tell you about what is the most appropriate handshake for interviews or any other business transactions, but we are going to focus today 8 deadliest handshakes one should avoid. The first one is called Bonecrusher. Bonecrusher. In this, the person never waits, the initiator never waits for the other person. This is considered to be the most feared of all these 8 handshakes. What happens? When the initiator initiates handshake, if he is a bone crusher, he never allows the other person. As soon as the other person reaches out his hand, he grabs it and crushes his hand like a bone crusher. Sometimes it even leads to bleeding. This type of people are considered to be more authoritative, overpowering kind of a person, and highly dominant personalities. And they never allow anyone to even treat to be treated even as equals. They don't treat anybody as equals. They think I am the boss. And if you are a lady and you go for more of uh, business interactions, please avoid any ring on your right finger. In case if you come across this kind of people, this will hurt you the most. So, my dear friends, we are not supposed to do this kind of a handshake. And in case if anybody is doing that, what are we supposed to do? We can't help it. Anyhow, as soon as the handshake is over, you will have a kind of a pain and you keep your hands automatically on your back. It goes back. But you should make him understand what he has done, and you should make others around you also to understand what kind of a person he is. It's not required you should say something bad about the person, but you should say, what have you done? It had been too harsh on me. So you make him understand what you have done is not right. So what is the second one that you should avoid? Fingertip grip. See, as the name stands, you just hold only the fingers of the other person. This is called fingertip grip. See, normally, you are not supposed to extend fingertip grip. Where it is appropriate, you might have seen most of the old English movies, the chivalry act. The lady comes and extends her hand like this, and the man goes and takes the hand like this and takes her down or takes her with himself. This is the appropriate earlier only with ladies. Even now, ladies also start shaking equal handshakes. It's not that you should only give, they should only give fingertip grip. Not required. Now there is nobody normally as per the chivalry act. Man should be not dominant personality. He should be subordinate. So the lady should extend the fingers, hands like this, and the man should just grip her only the fingers. Gone are the days now. Even each and everyone is equal, whether you are a man or a lady. So now even equal handshakes are given. What happens in case you are in a tensed situation and you are extending your hand and the other person was, and you are trying to pull it back, then the other person catches the finger grip? Not an issue. Catch hold of the other person's hand, the right hand and say, my dear, come on, let's try one more, and do a proper handshake. So the third one is called the stiff arm thrust. Stiff arm thrust, there is no bend on your elbow. So he extends the hand like this, very stiff, sometimes like this, sometimes equal, sometimes even he says like this. What it means? This means the person doesn't want you to come into his personal zone. In the earlier videos also, when I was talking about interviewing techniques, I was talking about zone relationships. So we have personal zone, intimate zone, personal zone, social zone, and public zone. So personal zone, maybe it differs person to person. Sometimes even 3 meters are considered to be a personal zone. So the person who is extending stiff arm thrust, he says, please don't come into my personal zone. Or there may be another case. The person is very busy with some or the other work, and he doesn't want to be disturbed. He doesn't want you to come into his space and disturb him during that particular period. Even I have experienced this so many times. When I go and meet somebody for the first time, or even for the second or third time, if the person is very busy or busy with something else, he is not that much interested in meeting me, the kind of a arm, the handshake will be stiff arm thrust. Hi, Edwin. So, what do you have got to do? So, when we start speaking and I understand him and make him come into my own zone, then make him normal, then when I leave, automatically he gets up and comes very close to me and extends the handshake proper. So, stiff arm thrust is not to be advocated in any place. The fourth deadliest handshake one should never do is called the vice. The vice is a relative to the first one that we have already discussed, the bone crusher. Bone crusher is a bit different. The impact of bone crusher is more. The vice is not that much. Even the intention in vice is different. The vice, the person, in case if the person is doing the vice handshake, he grabs the hand and normally he shows as if he is a subordinate. Okay, he gives a palm up. Okay, he extends the palm like this. But as soon as you give your palm here, he starts crushing and pressing it bit hard. And he is not leaving you for at least 5 to 6 minutes, 6 seconds. He crushes you and says, come on, man, shake like a man. You might have heard this with so many people coming and telling you, shake like a man. Are how the handshake of mine is going to determine my manlyhood, I don't know. But it happens. This kind of a people, they take dominance over the other persons, even if they are their own colleagues. They try to dominate them and try to catch them and try to pull them to their own circle. And this is called the vice. You are not supposed to advocate. The fifth one is pumping hands. Yeah, pumping hands. How many times can you pump? When I ask this question, whenever I go for some seminars and others, normally people say 3 times, maximum 4 times. Yeah, fine, it is fine. But as per the rule, you can pump even up to 7 times. But please don't quote me. Edwin has said, yeah, come on, 1, 2, 3. No, wait, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you can take it. No. Pumping of hands, you extend your hand, shake it, Even if it is 1, 2, even 3, it's fine. You might have seen all the politicians pumping their hands for the video and for the media for the long time. Even it goes up to 1 minute, pumping, 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 and seeing everybody. Please don't do that. How are you supposed to just shake hands? Pumping of hands is not to be advocated at all. Then, even if it is 1, 2, or even 3, it's fine. When the other person relieves the grip of his own hand from yours, if he or she releases the grip, that means you are supposed to leave his or her hand. You are not supposed to do it again. It is immaterial whether it is the other person is a female or a male. When I have gone for some seminar or some workshops, students come back to me and say, sir, it was good, very nice. Sometimes I release my grip, but the person holds on my hand for a longer period of time. Automatically, what happens? I start feeling a bit of uneasiness within me, and it starts, my facial expressions shows that I am not that okay with what is happening now. So, you are not supposed to pump hands, though it is allowed for 7 times. Don't do it just for 7 times. Even if when the person releases the grip, you are supposed to leave the hand. So, till now we have seen 5 deadliest handshakes people should avoid. The 6th one is called the socket wrencher. In this, the socket wrencher, the person, the initiator, never waits for the other person to extend his or her hand. He grabs it and pulls the person immediately to his personal or intimate zone. The other person goes and falls against him. These kind of people are literally sadists. They don't even give you some time to respond. They immediately wants to make you collapse and dominate you on any way. So, this tells about the psychology of the person also. This handshake one should never do. It is better to avoid any time. The 7th one that we are going to see is the wet or the dead fish handshake. See, imagine when you are catching a dead fish, how do you feel it? Oh, what a smoothie surface it is. Is it? You enjoy catching and fiddling and playing with a dead fish? I don't think so. People, the kind of a feeling a person has when, even if he's a non-vegetarian, he loves eating fish. If he is holding on to a dead fish, a kind of a slippery, the kind of a oily kind of a one, and it doesn't feel that great to hold on for a longer time. Some people extend their hands like that. See, I am not talking about a person who has some problem with his hands, especially palm, and it starts excess of sweating. In that case, if you have that kind of a problem, tell, excuse me, pull your hanky out, wipe it, and extend your hand. Your handshake should be firm as possible. You need to evaluate. It should not be very firm, or it should be live. It should have life in extending your handshake, especially. So, dead fish or wet dead fish handshake, the person is least bothered in extending his hand, just extends the hands like this, like a dead person, and he is not that much interested in interacting with the other who is extending the hand. One should avoid in any condition this dead or wet fish handshake. So we have come to the final one, the 8th one. The 8th one is called the Dutch treat. What do you mean by Dutch treat? This is a cousin to the previous one that we saw, the wet or dead handshake. In both, we don't have life at all. It is like you are just extending a bunch of carrot to the other person. Lifeless, very stiff. You want to touch my hand? Okay, touch, go. You are least bothered about the other person. So, no life at all, very stiff. The difference between the previous one, it is lifeless, it is very wet, and it is not stiff at all. Here, it is very stiff but has no life. The person doesn't want to speak to you. He is extending his or she is extending her hand just because you have extended your hand. The person doesn't want to embarrass you, but he doesn't want to talk to you neither. So, in this, the Dutch street, the person makes it very clear he doesn't want to interact with you at all. And there is another handshake called glove handshake, where you see when a person is extending one hand, you grab his hand with your both hands like this. See, it is not to be advocated unless and until the person is not very close to you. For example, in case you have the liberty to hug the person whom you are meeting, and during that kind of a relationship, if you have that much of a relationship with the other person, you can extend that glove handshake. Glove handshake is not considered to be the deadliest handshake. You can do it, but you need to know whom you are supposed to do with. So, my dear friends, a simple one, what you are supposed to do, extend equal handshake, treat everyone equal like this, not down this way either. So, this is what I wanted to talk to you today. Let us catch up with another interesting topic next week.